I love this topic. We start with our balanced breath. If our breath is erratic, that's going to impact our balance. So what's a balanced breath? Generally, it's an even inhale and an even exhale. Do you need to drive yourself crazy about if they're even? Not really. What you can do is we always start by just noticing where the breath is. So start to become more conscious of your breathing, your belly breathing, your nose, nostril breathing, refraining from the mouth breathing. We become more conscious, and a lot of times just by taking our awareness to our breath, bringing it there, the breath starts to even out. You'll notice that happens. I really encourage you when you wake up in the morning to spend a few minutes after you get yourself settled, whatever that means for you, whether it means taking out the dog or brushing your teeth or going to the bathroom, to take a little time and practice a balanced breath. And that just starts by noticing how your breath is. Very often when you wake up, your breath is going to be more balanced because the day is still quiet. And then we can even it up by doing things like counting. So let's try. Now, some of you are at a 3 count breath. Some of you are at a 4. Some of you are at a 5. And some of you might be at a 6. So I can only count a few times and then you need to take over. I'm going to start at 4 because that's probably a good happy medium. So let's inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhaling out through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling out through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. You might work to 5, you might work to 6 over time. No worries about that. Notice what it feels like to have that balanced breath. Now, when I'm talking, it's not exactly even because, right, there's always a little bit of a pause in between an inhale and an exhale, whether we notice it or not, or whether we make a conscious effort to make it even. Or to make it more pronounced. Let's try a little pause in between. So inhaling in 1, 2, 3, 4, pausing, just notice the pause, and then exhale out. 1, 2, 3, 4, take another pause, and then begin again. Do this a few more times. And if you want to try to increase it to 5, you can. And that would look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Little pause. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Little pause. We begin the inhale again. We can vary this up one more. I'll remind us of the box breath. So box breath would look like inhaling in for 4 or 5, space. So pause for 4 or 5 counts, exhale out for 4 or 5 counts, and pause again. Let's try that a few times, and then this is something you can do at any point, really, in your day when you're taking a little pause break. So, and it's a really nice way to calm the nervous system. And calm nervous system is a balanced nervous system. And a balanced nervous system is going to impact our physical balance. So inhaling in 1, 2, 3, 4, pausing 1, 2, 3, 4, exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, and pausing 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Pausing 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, and pausing. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can practice that even if you practice it. So if you look at it like 16 counts for the one full box breath, and you do that about 3 times, 3-4 times, you're somewhere around a minute, depending upon how many seconds. If you're doing a box breath at 5, you're only doing it 3 times in a minute, and that would be 3 full breaths in a minute. And the normal person, our normal average, normal's the wrong word, right? Average person is breathing about 12 breaths a minute. So this is very different when we do these kind of practices. All right, let's begin to move and sway side to side. Sway side to side. I know you guys come here for the movement, and then we're talking about breath, but they do go hand in hand. And you can inhale as you rock one way and exhale as you rock the other. As you breathe in and as you breathe out. Notice how it feels to have your hands in your lap. And start to pause on one side and then the other. And notice how that feels with the pause. And whether you feel like you've gone too far, a little bit more. We don't want to fall off the chairs. Please don't fall off the chairs. We don't need to go that far, right? So as you're swaying your hips, make sure you're conscious of your feet, and they might be alternating, lifting one heel and then the other. So as I lean to the right, the left heel is rising. As we lean to the left, the right heel is rising. We go back and forth. We breathe in and we breathe out. Let's return to center. And now we're going to lift our arms into a T. Feel how that changes your balance. Arms are in T. Sway towards one way and then sway towards the other way. Just notice, does this feel more balanced to have your arms out to the side? You may notice it and you may not. You might say, well, I'm seated and it really doesn't make a big difference for me. So just notice the rest of your body as you sway towards the right. What is the neck and the head doing? The head weighs around, let's say 10 to 12 pounds, average person. So that is a lot of weight that could impact our balance. Come back to center, hands on top of your knees, round your spine. Let's find cat pose. When we do cat and cow, it's actually balancing our spinal movement. Now inhale, go to cow, shoulders up and back, sitting bones are back. We're making that opposite C. When we do yoga, we're trying to balance our movements, front and back, side to side, and our twists. Exhale, we round chin to chest. Inhale, we lift heart. Heart rises, sitting bones move back. So it's a C convex. Actually, this is concave as cat. And then it's a C curve convex. So concave and convex. And that helps to balance out the movement. I know that's what you weren't necessarily referring to, but every body part and every movement impacts the way we move in a balanced fashion. Let's lift the right arm skyward. Good. Now take your weight towards the right and notice how that feels. Now take your weight towards the left and notice how that feels. Come back to center. Maybe you lift the left arm. Maybe your left arm takes your right forearm or wrist or hand. Relax the shoulders. Find your side bend towards the left. Let's take a breath in and out here. Feel a little bit of traction. Weights moving towards that left sitting bones. Come back to center. Interlace fingers, press palms, upwards, right? It might not go all the way up, but that's okay. Bend your elbows. And let's press the palms down to about shoulder height. Press them away from you. Push the webbings in towards each other. And then bring the knuckles in towards you. Notice how that feels. Then press them away. Pull them on in. Open it up. Now let's sway one way and the other and let your arms become a little bit more free and fluid. Fluidity like water elements. The elements in our body also, from a Chinese medicine perspective and an Ayurvedic, which is a sister science, to yoga, impact our balance as well. If we have a lot of the wind element and it takes over, then that movement is going to be kind of airy. Come back to center and let's lift the left arm upwards. Beautiful. Now sway towards your left and towards your right. Beautiful. Come back to center. Maybe you're lifting the right hand to give the left a little bit of assistance. Push down through your sitting bones. Pull your belly in. Side bend towards your right. Why would we do all those movements? Pushing down through our sitting bones and pulling our belly in. That's going to give us a little bit more strength in the center, which helps our balance. Inhale, we rise up. Beautiful. Interlace fingers, press palms downward. Open your palms out to each side like you're pushing the hallway. So thinking about, we're in the hallway, we're pushing down through both feet, and we're pressing our palms into the side walls. Now we've got strength going. As you push your feet down, you're feeling your legs activate. Release, let that go. If we were always holding, we build up a lot of contraction in the shoulders and circle them around and about. That's it. Around and about. Moving towards spinal balance in the chair. You're going to take your right leg forward and your left arm out to the side. Then holding on to the chair or helping your leg lift. So you can push the heel down or you can lift the foot up and reach up through the crown of your head. Notice how it feels to have one arm out and one leg, opposite ones. Breathe in and breathe out. You can always lower your leg down. It might be helpful to come towards the edge of the seat. We lift and we lower. Now let's switch it up. So extending the left leg. We sit tall. Take your time for the movement. Right arm out to the side. Hold on to the side of the chair or put your hand underneath the leg to lift it up and exhale and lower. And inhale, it lifts and exhale, it lowers. One more time. Breathe in, breathe out, and bring it on down. Notice how your body feels. Now let's try something where we lift the same arm and leg and see how that feels different. Let's lift the right knee up and the right arm out to the side. You might hold on to the side of the chair for a little balance. Now find a spot to stare at that's not moving. It's generally horizon level. This is one of those little pointers in yoga. And you might extend the leg forward. So you're staring at a spot, you're breathing, and your right arm and leg are lifted. Let's lower them down, take a little break, and inhale, lift up once again. Breathe in and breathe out and pull it back. Pull it back. Let's extend both legs now. Circle the ankles and the feet and the toes around one way and then the other. Loosen up the joints. That's part of the way we warm up. Make sure that our yoga practice really gets into most of our joints. Let's pull the feet back and inhale, extend the left leg and the right arm out to the side. You might lift it. You might help it lift. You might keep the heel down. Notice how this feels when it's the same arm and leg. And now we're going to switch it up. So right leg out, left arm. That's it. Then put the foot down and lift the arm and the same arm and leg. That's it. I have to keep track of what's going on here too, by the way. Now we've got left leg and right arm, and then left arm and left leg. It's a little bit of a brain teaser, isn't it? A little bit. Right arm, right leg, left arm. Right leg, right arm. You got this. Left leg, right arm. Left leg, left arm. That's just to get us thinking just a little bit. That brings us into our mind. Take the feet back down. Inhale, lift the heels, push down through all the way across the toes. If our weight goes to the outside, where our ankles are going to be imbalanced. If the weight goes to the inside, it's going to be imbalanced. Come back to center, lower the heels down. Same thing. Take your weight now to the outside of your feet. And I am exaggerating, but if we stand with more of the weight to the outside of one or both feet, it will throw us off balance. Now do the opposite. Bring your knees in and you can walk your feet apart and push down through the inside of your feet, which is big toe side. If our weight goes more inward, throw us off. While we're here, we might as well have a little fun. Open up your knees, cross your arms, and then switch it up. One arm's on top, then the other. Breathe in and breathe out, and you might lift your arms and cross them. That's it. It's good to get moving. Someone's like, why is this yoga? Well, we're focusing on our breath. We're focusing how it feels to move our body. And that's very much that the mind-body connection is what makes it yoga. We breathe in and we breathe out. Now give yourself a hug. Walk your feet outward, right arm over left, big hug. This is a symmetrical pose. Both feet are down about even, heels under knees. Hug, 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 hug. Really feel your hug. Because a hug is also going to bring in balance. It feels good. There's physical balance. There's emotional balance. Open it up. So many different types of balance. And with this mind-body connection, it's not just the physical. Cross the other way. Left over right. Big, big hug. Breathe in. Breathe out. Feel your hug, 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 hug yourself. Open it up. Take your arms into cactus. That's it. Feel your elbows lower just a little bit lower than your shoulders. And then let's lift just the right arm skyward. Exhale, pull it down. And left arm lifts. Exhale, pull it down. Good. Tip your elbows back. So the elbows are tipping back behind you. Then tilt your lower arms back behind you. So now you're making a V. Then bring the forearms back up. You're in cactus. Let's do this movement a few times. Take it back and then lift it up back to cactus. Take it back, lift it back to cactus, and lower the arms break time, bring your feet back together. We're going to do a little movement. I'll show it towards the back. You're going to first make a yoga fist. Thumb on the inside of the palms, wrap your fingers around. Now I'm standing, but you don't have to. I just want to show you what this looks like. So sitting bones back, that's like cow pose. Sitting bones, and then we can do these pelvic tilts. So pelvis, that's pelvis forward. This is pelvis back. So forward and back. You can do that in the chair. Or stand, whatever feels good for you at this moment. Then what we're going to do is drag our knuckles down the sacrum. This is our sacrum here. So here's my sit bones back, pelvis forward. Then drag your knuckles down your sacrum. Then extend your knuckles back behind you. Feel your shoulder blades on your back. So take your awareness to the shoulder blades and notice right and left moving towards your spine. Open up your palms, circle your arms, start to twist them in external rotation, internal rotation, so you're turning them, not really twisting them, as we move the arms upward, and then exhale, take them downward. And I want to play with that movement a little bit more so you can feel your shoulder blades come onto the back. So here we are, we've got our knuckles. We're going to drag our knuckles down and the sacrum is becoming more neutral. You might feel your belly. Then extend your knuckles back behind you. This is still seated. You don't have to stand. You can, if it feels good for you and you feel safe, do it. Pull your ribs back and then start to twist your wrists forward and back as your arms rise up. Lower your hands to your heart, hands to your hips. We're going to lean forward. Now, here's the body. We're leaning forward. How do you feel now in terms of balance? Notice your weight. It's come more forward in your feet. Your spine is forward. Your head is forward. So if we go too far, we'd fall off the chair. Where is the point where you can anchor down through your feet and your sitting bones so you stay right on that chair? Then make your fist back behind you and extend the knuckles back. Open the palms like you're going to press them towards each other, even though they're not going to come towards each other. And now take your arms out to the side. You're going to fly. You got to be balanced to fly. And then we're going to exhale, take our hands to our thighs, draw our shoulders up and back. We are in a cow pose. And then exhale, round your spine, and we're in cat. And we are in cow, shoulder blades together. Arms open out to the side. And release your arms, let them go, release your head and your jaw. If we don't tack our hips down and our feet down, we will feel more weight come forward. So really push down through them and notice how your belly tones as you anchor your hips down. Take a breath in and a breath out. Arms lift out to the side, push down through your feet. They lift up to the sky, gaze at your fingertips, hands at your heart. We're going to move towards standing, but many of the poses can be done seated. We talked about this a little bit on Friday about you need to do what's best for your body. Even though the class is designed to be about half seated, and then I would say about 20 minutes of standing, and then we come back down. Not exact, right? But you want to take care of yourself. So actually, I want to do a standing sun salute variation first, just like we did seated. So you could do this again seated. You're going to push down to your feet, and they are parallel. We're going to inhale and take our arms up overhead. Press down through our feet, lift tall, And then soften the back of your knees as you start to forward fold, arms go out to the side. Now I'm practicing right near a wall, so my buttocks is going right into the wall. That can be very helpful as well. Exhale, lower your fingertips towards the earth. Weight now, if your weight is in your heels, you're going to feel like you're going to lean back. If your weight is too far in your toes, you're going to feel like you're leaning forward. See if you can bring the weight about centered in your feet between front and back. But one hand can be on the chair. You could have another chair to your side on right and left, or you might release your fingertips down to the earth. And some of you might put your fingertips into a block. We're going to inhale and look halfway up. So when we were seated, we put our hands on our thighs, which you could still do, or you could have your hands at your shins as you lengthen your spine forward. We're gazing forward, but we're firmly pressing down through our feet. It's rooted. Now to come up, we're going to root down to rise up. To keep us balanced, we're going to keep our weight about centered in the feet. Notice if your weight's coming to the inside or the outside of the feet. Press down, rise up, and hands at the heart. So when I say weight about centered in your feet, we're talking about right around here, right around there. If you can see that, my feet are a little dirty as I walk outside with my doggies, but so right around there. If the weight is too much in the heel, that is generally it's a risk. We're going to fall back. Too much in the front of the foot, and we may fall forward. So really conscious of this. Now, I want to bring in the idea of asymmetric. So you could put your foot on a block, one foot on a block. I'm going to put my right foot on the block. And now I'm standing, but one foot is on the block. This starts to challenge our balance right away because the weight is not equally distributed. Notice how this feels. And let's play here with our vision. Vision, as we said, impacts our balance. You want to make sure you're safe, so hold on to a chair. Hold on to something, be against a wall. And then maybe, if it feels safe to you, close your eyes. And notice how it feels to have one foot up and one foot down. Take a breath in and take a breath out, and then open your eyes. And notice how that feels. That's a balance practice right in and of itself. Let's do the other side. It might feel completely different because balance tends to be different on one side than the other. So now we push our left foot into the block and our right foot is down. Notice how the right side has to work harder when the left side's on the block because it's the one pushing down into the earth. Notice that. Lift tall through the spine, belly's toning. Breathe in and breathe out. And breath is in and breath is out. And maybe you softly close your eyes. And maybe you don't. Maybe you halfway close them. And then let's release that and let it go. In between our balance practice, let's do a wall dog. Hands can be on a wall, hands can be on a chair. Hands can be on the seat of the chair, here or back here. For today, I'm going to use the back of the chair. It's different. It seriously feels very different in the shoulders, especially. Feet are about hip distance apart. If you feel like you need more width for your balance, that is also going to impact how you feel. So if the feet are a little wider, that might help you to feel more balanced. Let's bend our knees and take our sitting bones up, then lift our ribs and feel our shoulder blades on the back. Breathe in And breathe out. And breath is in. And breath is out. Bend the knees. And then slowly straighten them. And bend them. And straighten them. You may not straighten them all the way, and that's okay. Now, if you so choose, you might close your eyes here and notice how the pose feels different. You may or may not feel an impact on balance, but you might be more aware of your body. Sometimes when we close our eyes, it just brings more awareness in. Let's walk our feet towards the chair. And notice how you feel now. We went from an angled spine or hinged hips to back to straight up. You can also do things to challenge your balance by turning your head. Let's start, chairs in front of you, you're standing in mountain pose. Maybe you take your feet a little bit wider for balance, and maybe you keep them narrower. We're going to turn our head towards the right. And notice how that shifts the way you feel with your balance. Now, maybe you close your eyes and maybe you don't. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, head back to center, to neutral. Use your neck muscles to turn your head over your left shoulder. Breathe in. And breathe out. Maybe close your eyes and notice how balance feels now. I'm feeling a nice stretch in the neck at the same time. Just notice we're pushing down through our feet evenly. Feel whether the weight is going to the inside or the outside of your feet and make little adjustments. Inhale, bring the head back to center. Now we can switch this up. You might hold on to the chair. Let's go towards tree pose. So tree pose for you could be, of course it could be seated. Tree pose like this might be your pose with your arms up over your head. Tree pose standing. We're gonna put the block down and maybe this is your tree pose. This could be your tree pose. This could be your tree pose. And maybe a few of you that do this for the tree pose, but we won't go there. Or one of my friends likes to show this variation, which is to put your foot on the chair. Looks like this. Looks like this. This might be too high right now. Just notice which version are you going to choose to practice your balance. I'm going to go with this one right now. I'm going to stack a few blocks and place the heel like so. We're going to be here and breathe. Now, we can also play. Now, if you're home, you can have the chair in front of you and have both hands on it, or we can keep one hand on it, or maybe lift one arm. Maybe we're finding that spot to stare at. Maybe we lift both arms. Now, I don't suggest, if you haven't done it before, closing your eyes here. I would play with closing the eyes first with either both hands on the chair or one hand on the chair. We breathe in and we breathe out and lower the arm down. Here's where we could switch this up. We could turn our head in tree pose. So we might look over our right shoulder, come back to center, look over the left shoulder, come back to center. We could look up. That's different, isn't it? And we could look down, come back to center. You can play with one arm up and gaze to the opposite shoulder. Come back to center. Maybe you close your eyes, maybe you don't. You'll definitely feel some wobbling. I can tell you that I do. And then bring your hand back to the chair. Let's do the other side. So whatever variation you want to choose for your other side. I'm gonna do this since I did it on the other side, but you could do a different variation. We push down firmly through the standing leg. We lift up and out of this weight. Our waist is getting longer. We find that spot to stare at. It's about horizon level. Now, maybe right here, you close your eyes just to check it out before you do anything with your hands. Both hands might be on the chair. And you might open them and turn your head towards the right with your neck muscles. Inhale, head back to center. Exhale, head towards the other side. Inhale to center. You might take one arm up. Breathe in. Breathe out. Maybe you gaze up towards your fingertips. Come back to neutral. Gaze down towards the earth. Inhale to center. Release. Let that go. Let's now do a wall dog and see how that feels different. It's a neutral pose. Hands are on the seat of the chair. Walk our feet back. Sit bones are back. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. In. And out. And walk your feet back towards the chair. There you go. We're going to play with a sun salute with the chair. We'll add in a little push-up to it. So you're going to inhale and take your arms, one or both arms up. You're going to exhale and fold and take your hands to the chair. You're going to walk your feet back. And your body's going to be at a dyad. Ooh, that's a stretch for the calves. So you're leaning forward. Your hands are on the sides of the chair or maybe the seat of the chair. And then pull your hips back. And take your hips forward. Maybe you do a little push-up. Bend your elbows. Lift and lengthen the arms. Exhale, bend the elbows. Lift and lengthen the arms. Pull back towards a wall dog. From here, we're going to take this towards a balance pose. Extending the right leg back. Toes are down, or maybe the foot lifts up. No higher than hip height. Toes can be down, or they can be up. Now, we don't want our head down looking at our toes. We want our head forward. Crown of the head is reaching forward. Exhale, toes down. Inhale, toes up. Tone your hips. Notice which hip is working the hardest here. You're going to feel some weight bearing. Breathe in. Breathe out. Lower the foot down. Let's do the other side. Extending the left toes back. Maybe the leg lifts. Gaze is forward. Standing knee is soft. It should be kind of bouncy. That's right. Push out through the heel. Crown is forward. Extend the leg. Push out through the heel. You're going to feel some weight bearing in the hip. No doubt about it. Lower the foot. Walk back in towards the chair. Notice how your body feels now. Notice how it feels now. Let's do an asymmetrical pose because it'll feel good too. We've been doing some for sure. Let's do triangle. Now, if our triangle is narrow like this, it's not how the pose was intended, but maybe that's how it needs to be for your balance. However, If you feel comfortable taking your feet wider, then do. Now you can have your chair here or on the side. We're going to turn our right toes out. The wider you go, the more you're going to feel your leg muscles activating. If you're here, they might just kind of hang out if this is really easy for you. You got to find that place where you're turning on your leg muscles. You're asking them to wake up. And we're going to turn the right toes towards the chair. We're going to lift up and out of the waist. Take our arms out to the side. Lean towards the chair. Maybe back hands at the hip. Maybe fingertips are on the chair. Or some of you might bring your arm down. Now, we don't want too much weight to go forward like this. That's going to knock us off balance. Come back up. Lengthen the spine, long, add a diag from your hip. And if you were to draw a line, like your head is coming about straight down towards your foot. Is it perfect? No, we are human beings. We are perfect just as we are, but it may not be a perfect line. And maybe you take your arm up overhead. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's rise up. If we root to rise, it's going to keep us more balanced. So we want to push down through both feet. In this case, you might feel like the back foot is going to give you more balance to lift up. And all 10 toes forward, take a little break. Now I'm going to show you a yoga pose that is called half moon. I guess it's appropriate given that we're going towards a full moon. But with half moon, we are going to move from triangle to warrior 2 to half moon. You can skip at any part of this. Let me say, only do what feels safe for you. So we start with our feet wide. We turn to our triangle. We open up one or both arms. We take our fingertips down. Here's our triangle. Take a breath in and out. Now notice, if you gaze up, that might throw your balance off, or it might challenge your balance. Looking down might be easier for the neck. Only if you feel safe, you might blink your eyes just to check out what it's like to close your eyes for a split second. Then we're going to rise up and come to warrior 2. We're at warrior 2. Knee is bending over heel. We're pushing down through both feet. This is a strong pose, but it is an asymmetrical pose because one knee's bent and one leg is straight. From here, we're going to try this pose called half moon. Fingertips come towards the chair. Our weight comes forward towards the chair, and we might take our toes and bring them towards the standing leg. Some of you might feel like you might want to play with lifting the leg up. What I want to say is you want to make sure this shoulder is externally rotated, no falling on your shoulder. It also might help to move a little bit back from the chair because your weight comes forward. We come on up. You're not leaning into the chair. You're using your core. So not too much weight in this hand or arm. Then here's the balance. Here's the balance pose. It's not easy. So you might just keep your toes down and just kind of notice how it is. You might lower the leg and lift it up. There are a few of you who might take your arm up overhead. Doesn't make us more enlightened. We're pushing out through the heel. Then we're going to soften this knee to come back down. Take your feet together. Let's stand in mountain pose. This is a balanced pose. Mountain pose is a balanced pose. You might have your hands on the chair. No matter what, your feet, it's called equal standing. Equal standing on right and left legs. Let's take a breath in and maybe close the eyes and maybe not. We breathe in for a count of 4. And we breathe out for a count of 4. We breathe in for a count of 4. And we breathe out for a count of 4. Let's do the other side So you know where we're going. The left side knows where it's going. Feet are wide, maybe a little wider. Turn your left toes towards the chair. Now, notice how the weight may be coming more into the front leg and push down firmly through the back leg. Arms, maybe they rise, fingertips lower towards the seat of the chair. As you push down through your feet, notice how the hips tone. You can take your sitting bones back like we were doing with our knuckles earlier in the class, and then angle the sacrum downwards. So the sitting bone moves downwards and it tones. And then maybe the arm lifts up. We're in triangle. Now I'm noticing I could go even a little wider. So I'm going to step the back leg a little, shimmy it back a little bit more. It actually feels more balanced here. If your legs are locked, meaning knees are locked, that could throw the balance off too because the muscles can't activate. So give a little softness behind the knees. Now make sure you're not leaning too much into these fingertips. Maybe play with lifting them off. That's going to ask your core to engage. Maybe we gaze up to the fingertips. Might need to bring your arm a little forward. Maybe we gaze down. Maybe we gaze at the horizon. Breathe in. And breathe out. Let's inhale and rise. Turn all 10 toes forward. Take a little break right here. So we're going to do triangle again to warrior two to half moon. Do all of them, none of them, or some of these poses. Left toes are out. We go to our triangle. See, the body knows. Oh, we're going to triangle. We already did that. Okay. So the body knows, and it might go in there a little bit easier, but also we need to keep our awareness there because we can change it up a little bit where our focus is. We just because it'll automatically go there or maybe go there with a little bit more familiarity, we still want to keep our mind-body connection. Let's lift into warrior two. Knee is over heel and ankle. Beautiful. Now, in this pose, I should mention a lot of times the weight's going like that. We don't want that. Try to get the shoulders over the hips. That's going to feel more balanced. Press down through this front foot and feel your left hip tone. From here, we're going to go towards half moon. So you might need to make your adjustments because your weight's going to go more to the left. You can walk your feet, your left leg in a little, your right leg a little bit and more. Make sure there's not too much weight going into this shoulder. And then maybe you lift a toe or two up, pushing the heel away. Maybe you don't. You can always imagine it without doing it. You're physically, meaning it's happening in your mind. And that is half of it and maybe even more than half of it because your mind is picturing it. And so that neural pathway is developing. You can even develop it by watching others do it. Maybe the arm lifts, breathe in and breathe out. Let's lower the leg down, soften the knee, turn all 10 toes forward and bring your feet together. So yeah, let's circle the hips around and about. Things can feel a little bit of stickiness. So the thing about balance poses is they are more static, although shifting our weight can also be. Let's play with shifting the weight. Again, you could stand at a wall or have a chair in front of you. Let's just play with shifting weights. You know, walking is a balance act, right? So we're going to shift our weight from one side to the other. Toes are out, heels are in. Bend the right knee and then shift the weight towards the left. And also make your adjustments. I'm going to go a little bit wider so that my knee stays over my heel. You want to be safe. You also could have your toes forward and bend the knee forward, like so, and like so. Now I'm going to turn them back out. And maybe as you do this movement, you lift one arm and maybe the other, or just play with it. Now, this is also balance. You are playing with balance here. This is a shift of weight. It's a shift of weight. You guys look awesome. You look awesome. You might kind of flow with your arms a bit. I think when the arms are out to the side, it helps our balance. If you take your arms up, it might feel different. Because I'm so used to doing tree with my arms up, I actually feel more balanced when they're up. So our brains get used to things and we have to switch it up. We have to switch it up. Bring them down to the side and up. One or both arms. We're switching and moving and playing. Just play a little bit. If we take it too seriously, I think that'll throw us off balance. It will, because we're just getting too determined. Sometimes when we try too hard, it throws us off balance. And there we go. Now, let's play with shifting the weight and lifting a leg. So we're going to shift the weight to the right and lift the left leg out to the side. Notice how my body wants to go that way. Try to keep it upright. And then shift the weight towards the other side. Keep lifting from the inside. Keep your weight centered in your foot that's standing. Shift it and lift it. Shift and lift. And shift and lift. And maybe one arm goes out to the side. And maybe the other does. Shift and lift. That's it. You got this. So it's opposite arm. Now, if we do the same arm like we were doing before, that's going to feel different too. Try that. So same arm and leg. That to me feels less balanced. You could play with shutting your eyes just for a second. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let's come back to center. Be right here. Be right here. Now, the one that you probably think of a lot when you're playing with balance is coming on your tippy toes. If you have a block, take it, put it in between your thighs. That's going to help balance because we're coming into our core, hugging the inner thighs into the block. Then we're going to inhale and lift our heels. Find that spot to stare at. Exhale, release it down. Inhale, we lift. Now, maybe for a split second, you close your eyes and see how that feels. And then exhale and lower the heels. Not closing your eyes is not a failure. Maybe you just need to think that through for a bit before you actually do it. So don't worry about it if you're saying, that's not for me today. Like I said, we are coming towards that full moon. Inhale, heels rise up. Tone the hips. Breathe in, breathe out. Maybe you take one arm up. Maybe you take the other arm up. But we're keeping that vision towards the horizon. So if you look up while you're doing this, it's going to throw your balance off. If you look down, it's going to throw it off. But if we consciously do this, we lift up our head and then we lower down. Now be gentle on your neck. So you're using your neck muscles to lift your head up and down. Notice how that impacts balance. You don't even have to be onto your heels. So you could be onto your toes. You could be standing. Lift the head up, lower the gaze down, breathe in, breathe out, gaze over a shoulder. Inhale the other way. Notice how that shifts it. And come back to center. Let's release that block. We've done a lot with balance today. Notice how your body's feeling. Let's do a half moon pose. I'm sorry, not a half moon, a crescent moon pose. So if it feels accessible to you, you might cross your right leg over your left. If not, keep your feet in mountain pose equals standing without the cross. And then you might lift one arm up and find a side bend. Find a side bend one way. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now notice how you need to push down equally through both feet. Inhale, rise up. And let's switch sides. Left over right. Or whatever. Just switching it up. And then take that side bend. It will feel different based on which arm you lift. You can play with it, maybe have a chair like this. So side bending towards the left, and then side bending towards the right. Notice how it's different. The stretch is different. The weight is different. Come back to center. And maybe try that again on the other side because we didn't do both sides. Just to check it out, switching the feet. And then come back to neutral, back to mountain pose. Let's do one sun salute, seated or standing. So arms rise up. Exhale, soften the knees, release your arm to the chair or the earth, let the head go. Weight is centered in our feet, meaning equal weight in the right and the left, and from forward to back, so right about centered towards the arch in your feet. Breathe in and breathe out. Maybe you take hands to opposite elbows if that feels accessible to you. Now we got a lot of weight going forward, so we got to really push down through our feet. You might sway your trunk to the right and to the left. And then when you're ready, one or both hands to your hips, shoulders roll onto the back, push down, rise up, hands at your heart. Have a seat. Let's make sure we do a twist. I don't think we did many twists here today. We must do a twist before we end. Have a seat and just notice how you feel. You know, if you were seated, notice how you feel. If you're standing, notice how it feels to sit down. Let's twist towards our right. Take the left hand outside the right thigh. Turn with your neck muscles, the head towards the right. Breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. Inhaling and exhaling. Come back to center. Notice how the body is starting to calm down. And other side. Right hand outside left thigh. We find our twist. We lift tall. Turn from about the navel towards your left. Head last. Head turns last and from the neck, not the head whipping around. Breathe in. And breathe out. And in. And out. Just feel the impact of your twist. In through the nose and out through the nose. And return to center. Circle your nose, make a circle with your nose. And then the other way. Just to loosen up anything that might have gotten a little tight or stuck or sticky. And then come back to center. And we relax for a few moments. I want you to use, this is called Hakini Mudra. In Hakini Mudra, the fingertips come together. Now, you can have it in front of your heart as you set an intention, and you might say something to yourself like, I am balanced. I'm emotionally balanced. I am physically balanced. I'm spiritually balanced. You could say whatever you want, or you could rest your Hakini Mudra in your lap. And you might say nothing, but some people like a mantra, some don't. You might breathe in for a count of 5, 4 or 5. And breathe out for a count of 4 or 5. We breathe in. And we breathe out. So this hand mudra, you can come to at any point during your day. Some people come to it naturally without even realizing it. And it helps us to find balance as our fingertips touch. This is also connected to the right and left sides of our brain, our nervous system. Feel the impact of the mudra. You can make friends with the mudra, just practicing it throughout your day with your eyes open or your eyes closed. I am balanced from the inside out. Breathing in and breathing out. Whole body finding this steady, balanced, equanimous state. Equanimity. Breathing in and out softly, releasing any control with your breath. Relaxing the whole body from your feet, your legs, right and left, hips, right and left, spine up and down, shoulders and arms and hands, head, eyes relaxing, skin relaxing, ears, whole body relaxing. As we breathe in and as we breathe out. Notice how your body feels. Important to find the stillness after practice to just kind of check in. Bring our palms together in front of our heart. This is also a full balance.
What's wrong?
Say namaste.
What's up, Colin?
Everyone have a wonderful wellness